Good people, hello. I'm back again. I'm still in Durban, as I was with Baxter. Today I am with Anthony Joseph, who was my boss in 20, what's it, 2022.
Work guide.
Okay, my work guide. In 2022, shopper marketing. We're doing shopper marketing, as you know my story for Kno. But it was for like a couple of months, like 2-3 months.
Short while.
It was very short before he disappeared. But we'll get into that. Why, where did he go? What happened, and all the stuff. But I'm happy to have a conversation with you, Ant. Just tell us a little bit about who Ant is, briefly. I know you've got, 40 years of who Ant is, but just briefly.
No, thanks, firstly, Mike, for having me and for giving me the time and space to share a little bit about my story.
Yeah.
I always like to introduce myself by saying, first and foremost, I'm a Christian, and then I am a husband, a father, a son, before I'm anything else in this world. Those are the things that matter to me in that order. I like to believe that I'm the same Ant you'll experience, whether it's in the workplace, in my community, in a parents' meeting, with my family. I try to be that same consistent person. I am, as much as I'm an individual, I believe that I'm an amalgamation of so much of my past. It's so nice that we're engaging just after Heritage Day.
Yeah.
As I was talking to people about, for me, heritage is not about food, dress, and music, but it's as simple as reminding me that I'm the present version of all those that came before me. My mother and my father, the school that I had the opportunity to go to, the community I was raised in. And for me, every day I think I'm still trying to discover who I am. Something happens or something changes that makes me realize in this moment in time, I know who I was yesterday, but I don't know who I am today or who I'm going to be tomorrow. So without being rather vague, who is Ant, I'm still trying to figure that out myself. I know a little bit more than I did when I was 20.
Yeah.
And then when I got to 30, I know a little bit more. And then at 40, I'm hoping on this journey, as we get towards the latter half now, I'll figure it out more. But if I were to summarize it, I'd like to think I'm a person that others like to be around, others like to engage with, and that feel that they are comfortable around me so that I can be an ear to listen, or I can be a shoulder, I can be a voice to help.
Yeah.
One of the key things I've learned from my father is actually in life that that's all we need to be. We are in this world to help others. And in the words of the Dalai Lama, if we can't help them, then at least not hurt them. That's all I'm trying to be.
Oh, that's powerful. So before we dive deep into your career and your life, there's this question that I like to ask my guests on your show. And don't be too deep about it. Just on the moment, what's on your mind, basically just say it, right? So the question is, what has been troubling you of late? What has been on your mind and really keeping you up awake at night? And when you're driving to work, you still think about it, ponder about it.
Yes. It's probably the same thing that's been on my mind for the past 20 odd years. Is what is this all for?
Sure.
What are we on this hamster wheel for? What is this cycle for? This Monday to Friday, this go to school, get a degree, find a job, meet somebody, have a family. What does that all mean? What is the end goal of all of that? Sometimes I get kind of deep into it. And I think once again, if everything was perfect in this world, I think I'd have my answer. But what really keeps me up at night is this constant battle between good and bad. You know, and I'm not talking. I'm not even going to get into politics. I'm not even going to get into war or differences of opinion in countries. I'm just talking about simple things around a person being good and treating another well versus a person who doesn't have that kind of uh, experience or offer that same view. And I'm almost at loggerheads or conflict with myself on the day-to-day basis, whether I'm encountering someone like that on social media who has a completely different view and thinks they're right and just hits me the wrong way, or someone at the road. The road, I think, on the road is a perfect example of somebody that just we all go to the same rules, right? But just approaches those rules on the road differently.
Differently, yeah.
It's those little things that bug me. There again, I don't have the answer, but I think what kind of keeps me sane at night is to say, I do not have influence over that. How I react, how I respond in that moment or thereafter, whether it's my actions or my voice, is something I'm kind of trying to learn to work out and control versus the actual incident itself playing out.
Oh, that's powerful. So your reaction is actually more important than the actual incident. How you react, I think it's very, very critical.
Yeah.
Something that we were talking about this morning with Michael Baxter. I don't know if you still remember him.
Yes.
I told him that I'm gonna talk about him. He was saying that one of the stuff that is in my mind a lot, in his mind a lot, is he summed it as the spirit of Ubuntu that is seemingly lacking in the world, not just South Africa, but in the world entirely, because we are all born with that spirit of Ubuntu. As young kids, we grow, we don't make the conscious decision of saying this person is like this person. Like, kids can go and play with anyone, right? But as they grow, being influenced by the environment that they're in and the circumstances and situations that happen to their lives, and then they lose that spirit of Ubuntu as the world progresses, develop, and then we lose that thing. That human connection then becomes a problem, which is...
I love what you're saying, Michael, and I think I'm experiencing it at the moment in a slightly different way because my kids are quite young, and my daughter lost her second tooth yesterday. So we have to go through this process of the tooth fairy, putting the tooth under the pillow, and then the irony is we're following a process of trying to create make believe for a child, make them believe in something, and at some point in life we kind of deal them the harsh realities of life, that this is not real, etc. And if I would almost reframe my answer to the first question you asked me, the other thing that I wish we could do is not lose our innocence that we have as a child. And yes, I might get a bit spiritual now, but for me, there's something beautiful that we're trying to teach children, but they in essence teach us. They believe, they have the faith in what you are saying to them. They trust. And probably the most important thing in life that I think is critical right now, probably the foundation of why so many things are going wrong, is children know how to forgive. Forgiveness. I've seen it in my life, I've experienced it in my life, and I've seen how powerful forgiveness can be for the giver, right? And for the receiver. They are the same concept, but very different when you're giving it and when you receive.
When you receive,
If I could say what also keeps me up at night, it's just this thing around how do we get people to embrace this gift of forgiveness, which I think is embedded in Ubuntu as well. There's so much within there that you can break.
That you can break it down, yeah. Oh, maybe I'll do another episode to give Ant an opportunity to then break it down and preach to us. Okay, no, let's get into your career. You've been with Unilever since grad.
That's right.
We're gonna talk about the Magnum company, but
it was 30 kilos ago.
So you've been with one company, before you even tell us where you began and going up, how has that been like? Because in this day and time, right? There's that belief within the industry that you have to move around so that you grow quickly. So you have to do 2 years there, 3 years there, 5 years there, and then you're gonna get into management, higher management, director very quickly because you're dipping around and getting different skill sets and different vibes and different companies, different cultures. But for you, you've like done it within one company. How has that been like for your career? And then you can take us through where you started and until now.
Sure. I think I'll start off by saying, just for those that are watching, there's no right or wrong path there.
Mm.
There's no follow my example. I think what really helps is if you're clear on what you want in your life up front, and it doesn't happen overnight. Because I also went through those motions of, you believe what you've been sold,
Yeah.
and because you're not much wiser. When you're looking for your first job, that's exactly what you want. You want your first job so you can earn an income.
Yes.
And then, believe it or not even apply what you've learned in university. I think there are very specific fields that you can apply. But I was trying to figure out, how do I apply any of the stuff that I learned in university in my day job? Because now I think what I realized very quickly was the degree just gave me a grounding to go, okay, you can think,
Yes.
you can discern, but now you need to learn and be part of a new culture. And for anyone who is thinking of joining a big FMCG company or being part of a business, I would say, when you're in school,
Yeah.
spend more time on the sports field. Spend more time in activities that drive group participation, because it's critically important to study and get the good grades. Don't discount that at all. But what you learn on the sports field, or what you learn in the cultural sphere of life, is you learn disappointments from losing,
Yeah.
from working with groups of people that are stronger than you, or picking up people that are weaker than you, that need your support and guidance. And when you get into the work environment, that's really what's important. Even working with people that you might not absolutely like, or they don't actually like you.
Yeah.
So that created a journey. That journey for me took me on a path of, I just wanted my first job to, okay, how do I get to becoming a manager? But not thinking why. Because when you become a manager, what you realize, management is actually looking after others.
Sure.
And when that happened, you realize very quickly, it's not just about the change in work grade. It's not about just the salary increase. You are now responsible for the growth of someone else's career.
Sure.
Yeah. So very, very quickly along that journey, I realized a couple things. Firstly, that was a big one for me. The second thing is that, as much as people can say others will be looking out for you, for your career and what you're doing, what you aspire to, there's only one person that is in charge of your career journey, and that is you.
Yes.
If you don't know what you want to do, nobody's going to be able to guide you to get you there, or to be able to endorse you for it. So I would say the first thing to do very quickly is get a hold of what it is you want to do. You don't need to know how. As long as you know where it is you want to go next, or the step thereafter, there will be people, and it's not just about the organization I was in. I think it's a general rule. There are people out there that will support you. And that brings me to my third point. Surround yourself with the right people. It is a journey for a reason. Like in sports, you have coaches. So coaches, mentors, people you trust. I still have my very first line manager from 2007, who's traveled all over the world, that is in touch with me to this very day.
Oh, wow. Okay.
She's a life coach now. And whenever she's in South Africa, she makes the time for me. And I really value that, because it's all genuine. It's not someone that is thinking about it from a business perspective. is someone that you have on your life journey, not even career journey, life journey, and you don't need a lot of people, by the way, that can be honest with you, that can challenge you and stretch you and seize your potential.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's critically important. And then if I had to go a little bit further on, how did I stay in one place for so long?
Yeah.
I think firstly, if you're in the right organization, it's a mutual thing. So they will continue to see your potential, right? But you've also got to be able to reinvent yourself and identify opportunities that you can put your hand up for. Because once again, it's a two-way street. And lastly, I would say, try and push yourself out of the comfort zone. So the moment you start feeling comfortable and you are doing things in half the time,
Yes.
you don't necessarily have to leave, but you can say, okay, now it's time for me to move on to the next.
Find another
piece.
project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not to say I haven't tried to leave. I mean, I've been across.
Because that's going to be my next question. That's going to be my next question to say, have you ever tried to leave the company and applied elsewhere? Go out.
I have. And what I appreciate about my company.
Yeah.
And I say my company because that's how all the amazing things, all the difficulties in my life has happened whilst I've worked
through the
they gave me the opportunity to not stifle what I wanted to do. So I had a global opportunity in another company in India, of all places. It wasn't just a Joburg or a Cape Town move. They were looking for somebody in a company, international company based out in India, and they gave me the space to really think about, is this the right thing for me? Actually travel there to see the country, see the company, and that experience, having that space to kind of make that decision without feeling pressured, really helped me stay. As strange as it may sound. And it's a bit of a life lesson, because when you want something out of somebody and you feel they're going down a different path, you can do two things. You can force your opinion upon them, which actually might push them away or make them stay for the wrong reason. Or you can support them and give them the space to make the decision on their own. For me, there's a life lesson there. It's not a work-only scenario. You can apply in anything.
Anything, yeah.
So for me, that was probably the one biggest moment where I was looking for an opportunity. And it was not that I was unhappy at all. I thought it was a good opportunity. I had enough experience for me to spread my wings.
Yeah.
But it just didn't work out in the end of the day once my wife and I had thought about things. Probably the deciding factor. And
the wife.
This is the deciding factor. Depends how you live your life. But for me, being spiritual and being faith-led defines everything for me. And there's a word, discernment, right? So everything can look good on paper. Everything can sound great, but it might not be for you.
Yeah.
And therefore, even if you might not be a spiritual person, discernment is something you need to apply. And at that point in time, my wife fell pregnant with our third child. And we were still considering everything, but I believe that special child was born at a point in time where our lives could have been changed, and COVID literally hit a short moment after that. And still to this day, I wonder, but what if? But there's no but what if, because what was destined for us in that moment in time is how things are playing out.
Yes.
So that's the career journey.
Sure.
And I don't regret any of the opportunities that I've had, or the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'll take everything, because that's, to your first question, what makes me me? All of those things. Everything.
Compound to make you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, then tell us now, from leaving varsity to then getting into, I believe back then, it was a long time ago, in early 2000s or late 90s, times were different. Even the recruitment was also different. How did you get into Unilever, and then how did you maneuver your way around Unilever for all these years? As you were saying that you constantly had to reinvent yourself
Yeah.
to be a different and for different projects and stuff like that. But how did you get in there, and then how did you like kept on doing that, reinventing and reinventing
Yeah.
until I come in the picture?
So 2006, this was the only company I had applied to.
Sure. Okay.
And I often ask myself, if it didn't work out, what would I have done? But that is history, right?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
we went through a process called IBMC, it was called back in the day, which was a graduate placement program.
Yeah.
They took 100 students and you went away to a hotel and you spent a couple of days there, and you had business leadership courses and experience, and you got to work on projects. And I must admit, in that process, I actually struggled because it was my first time away from home, and it's a balancing act, right? Because in sport, I keep going back to the example.
Yeah.
How do you shine individually, but still deliver for the team?
For the team.
And in that setting, everyone's trying to put their best foot forward, have their opinions heard, and I must admit, I felt like I didn't come out the best, and I didn't make it through the program, but I was grateful enough to get a call back a couple of weeks later.
Okay.
And at the time, I had gone in for marketing, but when they had called me for let's call it a further interview or opportunity, and they asked me the question, would I like to go into what they called customer at the time, or into marketing? Because I had a tough experience in marketing, something in my gut just told me customer. Customer. And that was the beginning of the journey. I ended up in customer, and as much as I love marketing and I love everything that happens in the marketing space, customer for me became my foundation at Unilever.
Yeah.
And it gave me the opportunity to have a broader understanding of the business. And from there, as I mentioned, being around the right people and having that lifelong mentor
Yeah.
carried me and opened me up to. So I started in foods. From foods, I had the opportunity to move from foods into what my then director was guiding me on to say, you might not move to marketing, but there's a function that we believe you'd be great in called customer marketing.
Customer marketing.
And as you know, we've moved in, there's been a journey from trade marketing to customer marketing to shopper marketing.
Shopper marketing, yeah.
And he played a very important, influential role in doing the sell to me at the time. And I was all for it. And so began my love affair with all things shopper. And from there, I moved across shopper marketing, across the different categories, from foods to personal care to, I even touched ice cream at one point, to home care eventually, and then to the different accounts teams before I actually came back to customers. So as much as a lot of my experiences in the shopper space, what I loved about Unilever is let a person get the most out of a role and make impact in it, but still allow them to be challenged and motivated and engaged in a space. And I think if anybody wants to stay in a company for a long period of time, that is the recipe.
Yeah.
It's not the age-old, sometimes how we've brought up, especially if you come from let's call it a disadvantaged background. The idea is be loyal to the company.
Yes.
Give them extra, so you'll find a lot of people staying in companies because that's what they were told by their parents.
Yeah.
I definitely didn't stay because of those reasons. I stayed because I felt they wanted me there. I felt like no matter what happened in my life, they adapted and worked around my challenges.
Yeah.
And there was always room to help me if I faltered or I stumbled or I needed the help to get me back onto my feet, whether it was growth in a role or whether it was a health challenge. Now, when you have that foundation set up, for me, the question is very easy. How can I not stay?
Yeah.
Not why didn't I leave? So I hope that answers the question.
Yeah. No, 100%. So I think what I need to ask was okay because okay, I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna ask this question. In you not living, right? In you being in the same space for this long, I'm sure you get to a point where you're like, I can do I'm just winging it, right? I'm just winging it because like I know the back and the front and the sides. I know everything about Unilever. I've been across all the categories. So I just come in winging. There's no need for me to put that much effort, right? Did you ever got into that point where you're like, I'm just winging this thing? Anyways, I know this thing.
Look, I think there are moments where you might be able to step into a meeting
Mm,
or into a presentation where I wouldn't call it winging it, but you have enough of the experience in order to prepare quicker than the next person, or you've got that experience around knowing the right things to say. But I don't think I've ever, you know, taken the opportunity for granted.
yeah.
Uh, I always tell my kids, no matter how many times you get on the stage or how many times you get on the sports field, having a little bit of nerves is a good thing. So even if I'm presenting to my leadership or I'm in a meeting and I feel a little bit of nerves, I'm feeling a bit, how can I say, worried or concerned around my preparation. I always believe that's a good thing. It's a sign of respect for what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I can tell you for sure, no matter how senior you might think you are,
Mm-hmm.
um, and you're looking at someone that's senior, you might think that person has all the answers. But it's only because they seem to have a little bit more experience and knowledge and exposed to something that you might not have had exposure to just yet. But sit down with that person and ask them some questions and ask them about their doubts, their fears, their worries, their concerns, where their growth is. And you're starting to hear, hey, this person still feels that they haven't achieved everything yet. I'm thinking they have. In their own space, there's so much more they want to do, so much they want to be. And I think that's the life lesson is wherever you're at in that moment in time,
Yeah.
take a moment to smell the roses, right? Uh, pat yourself on the back, but also realize, okay, like how do I push myself a little bit further?
Yeah.
And I think that's the idea around life. So when I look at older folk that retire and don't do anything, they seem to get older faster. My dad's 82 now, and he's been retired for a bit now, but I feel he's more active now than before. So you don't have to stop. There's always something you can do, something you can learn, some value you can add in your life.
I think it goes back to what you were saying, and before we were shooting. So there's a difference between doing what you love and loving what you do, right?
Correct.
Can you explain that just a little bit?
It took me a long time to work that out, and it's really defined by I am not my job title.
Okay.
So if you think about it, people love job titles. You love it on LinkedIn, especially. Why?
Yes.
Because people look for these job titles to kind of connect with people because it might open up their next opportunity. But I want to be clear. You are not your job title. We are so obsessed, is the word, around I want this title that we allow it to define ourselves. But the most powerful, most influential people in this world that we talk about today never had job titles.
Oh.
If you think about it.
Yeah.
The ones that we really follow that have made an impact. And I love what I do, not to take anything away from it, because I think it's great to love what you do.
Yeah.
But it's more about, because of the circumstance, I've learned to love something. I don't want to call it an arranged marriage, but I love what I do. For me, it sits there.
Marriage.
I do what I love.
Yeah.
It's a conscious decision to say, I have made a decision to choose to do this.
Yeah.
I have chosen to marry this person.
Sure.
that I have chosen, with the good, the bad, the ugly, etc. Right? And I do what I love. For me, is a powerful statement because it's not defined by salary. It's not defined by wealth. It's not defined by title, etc.
Mm.
You find a lot of people that choose careers where you might think, oh, this person doesn't make a lot of money, so they decided to be whatever field. I don't want to put on any field, but where you might think, hey, this person isn't making a lot of money,
Yeah.
right? It's a hard life, or the lifespan of that career is short.
Mm.
But maybe that person doesn't just love what they do. Maybe they're doing it because they love it. That could be the fundamental reason. And when I went to India as a classic example,
Yeah.
not to say that the two are linked up, I found it fascinating that I saw people who probably have half as much, but they look twice as happy. And I couldn't
Oh.
fathom this out. Like, this person, I walked into a store, served me. I didn't buy anything.
Hmm.
They didn't make a sale. But in their mind, they were delivering a service. And they were still helping me, whether the purchase came or not. And like all these little things in my life, I collect these thoughts, and I sometimes sit down and ponder about it to get to this point where we're talking about
Yeah.
loving what you do and doing what you love.
Mm.
And I think in that moment, a person is loving what they do because that situation is the one they're in. I need a job. I need to work.
Yeah. Ish.
But you can, even in that moment, consciously do. You can change that narrative and do what you
And
love.
do what you love. Yeah, because in this economy, and whether I love it or I don't love it, I'm doing it. Right? We've got what, over 50% of youth unemployment. You can't tell a youth person in South Africa right now and say, hey, you must do what you love. Hey, what if I love doesn't bring money? In now. I
Doesn't
mean,
pay the bills.
yes, love is not enough in a marriage, because we're using the marriage analogy here. Love is not enough. We need in the marriage, I have to provide. I have to, otherwise she's gonna leave me because we're hungry in this marriage.
Great question.
Mm.
I will probably answer it using the work analogy and also looking back maybe on how I saw my grandparents.
Okay.
So I can tell you for free, if you want to move around companies and you plan this strategically, your chances of jumping salary is going to be better. I don't need to tell anyone this.
Yeah.
You should know this because you're moving because of opportunity, and you will grow because of if you move for the right reasons, you're moving because of promotion, and therefore it comes with benefits, etc.
Yes.
Just be clear you're doing what you're doing. When you stay in a long-term place, your salary curve is a little bit slower, you know. But you've got to be very clear on what you want in life. Because if I were to look back on my grandparents and say, did they want for anything, or did they tailor their needs according to their wants, and vice versa? Because in those days, you had big families, 6, 7 kids, and there was only one provider on both sides. So there was no fancy cars. There was none of the personal luxuries that we have today.
Yeah.
I'll use my grandfather's words and say, cut your suit according to your cloth.
Okay.
If you're not earning the salary to be buying food every week at Woolworths, don't shop at Woolworths.
Sure.
Aspire to shop there. Maybe buy a few things. I used to love shopping there. I love any opportunity I get. But the reality is I might not be able to go there all the time. If your salary is not fit for you eating out every day, then you can do one of two things. You can try to look for another job or opportunity that's going to allow you to do that. Or maybe you don't need to be eating out every day. I'll use one more example. And I was thinking about this the other day. How my life has changed since I was a grad that joined the company in 2007.
Yeah.
My goodness, I don't go for fancy haircuts anymore. I don't use fancy hair products. Ish, I'm using these dupe. I think they're called dupe perfumes.
Yes.
I'm not so much into brand jeans like I used to be.
Yeah.
I'm not even wearing a watch now. It's not because I can't go out and buy these things. I have different priorities, and certain things are more important to me now than they were then. So it's okay not to want those things. I'm sure people must be saying, "Hey, Shane," and can't afford to go get a fancy haircut if they watch this thing. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is
Yeah. Yeah.
there are other things that come just before my own needs now. There are other things that I value more important than a fancy car or a fancy home or fancy holiday. And that's because I've chosen a life um, of things that are important to me. I've chosen to be married, as an example.
Yeah.
I've chosen to um, have 3 kids and give them the best that I could based on what we feel is the best. And those things take another keyword, sacrifice.
Yeesh.
And so I think in a long, short answer, in your career, you need to be willing to know what are you sacrificing to get to where you want to be.
Yeah.
And sometimes that comes at the cost of time. Sometimes it might come at the cost of your own happiness. There are trade-offs you need to make.
That's
Be
sacrifice.
very clear what trade-offs you're making to get where you need to. And know that your trade-offs are not the same as the person that you see who's climbed the ladder and you go, that person is very successful. I want to be like them. You don't know the trade-offs they've made to get where they are. You don't know how they might be feeling inside, maybe admiring you. And
Sure.
what you might think is a simple life. Maybe you're going home at 5 o'clock to
Yeah.
your family and you're going, I wish I was the boss. But the boss is still there. Because to be the boss, you have to do things differently. You have different accountabilities. So, simple career advice. Don't look at someone else's career and make that the journey for your own. You have to run your own race. If you watch one of my posts, even
Yeah.
if you think you're coming last in your race, if you are in your race by yourself, you are still first.
If I
Right.
yourself, yes.
Don't
Yes.
run your race according to how someone else is running their race. Pace yourself. There are so many examples there out there of how people have made it in life at different stages, at different ages, from different backgrounds, from different circumstances.
Yeah.
Run your own race, Michael.
While we're talking about that, there's this word that's coming in my mind. It says pressure, pressure, and pressure and pressure. And you've been through whole lot of different pressures, and there's this one point in your life that you also openly talk about that made you disappear on me in 2022, right? 23.
Beginning of 2023.
23 years.
Yes.
That made you disappear on me as my boss. And I was like, Ant is here, and then Ant is nowhere to be seen. Can you take us through that pressure and to get to a point where you're hospitalized, fighting for your life, and the thoughts that are coming while you're in the hospital, like, I've given my life to this company, to these people, but I'm here today. Take us through that.
Yeah, so, pressure can affect people in different ways. And on the 10th of January, 2023, a combination of so many things happening in my life, maybe being unfit. I don't know if it was COVID, maybe it was stress. And I want to be very clear, I don't single out anything from a work context, because if you want to work in FMCG, there's no ways you can escape pressure.
Yeah.
It's the nature of the role.
Yeah.
It's just like if you want to be a sportsman and you're saying, I don't want to deal with the pressure. You've chosen the wrong field. So
Yeah.
pretty much every aspect of life, unless your career might be a bed tester for a bed company, is going to involve some level
Some slipping, eh?
of pressure, right? So 10th of Jan,
Yeah.
pain down the left-hand side, I fall down. Within moments, my wife rushed me to the hospital, and I'm informed I'm having a heart attack. An hour and a half later, I wake up in cardiac ICU. And already my life in that moment feels different. What was strange, though, is what was happening to me didn't really hit me until 2 or 3 months later. The physical part hit me. But when I was thinking about returning to work, and I had some really close colleagues spend some time with me, I was questioning whether I was ready to come back, because now the mental wellness side is starting to kick in. And I must admit, I didn't focus too much on it. I didn't know much about it, but I started to doubt myself. Does the company need me? Is there a place for me when I come back? Um, do I even know anything? I was even doubting whether I had any value to add, whether anything I've learned in the last 15, 16 years,
Yeah.
Was I alive? Was I just in a space where I'd done a job, but I actually don't have any value to offer? I went through this massive self-doubt, and there was a group of leaders around me at the time that, including some of my assistants, that came home to visit me. I'm not sure why you didn't come to visit me, Michael, but some of them
I was
came
still
to visit
angry. I was still angry.
I shared openly, and I think it's very important to be open and vulnerable, but at the same time, you've got to know who to be open and vulnerable with. And in that moment in time, I was able to express my feelings to them. And what I learned as a key takeout of that moment is self-doubt is real.
Sure.
And there's this saying that I like to use, which is a person can look fine, sound fine, act fine, even tell you they're fine, but they're not fine. And there's a dual responsibility on that individual to be comfortable enough to be able to communicate this, but also for us as leaders, teachers, even assistants, doesn't matter whether you're the manager or assistant in this case, but to be able to see from a human point of view, because this is what it's about, about being human, that somebody is not okay. So even in the work context, you have to be in touch with your human side. And I must admit, the human side that came to bat for me in my company space was second to none. I can't fault it. From the work doctors and nurses to my leadership team, the support around me, when once I was vulnerable to say, this is how I'm feeling, I actually couldn't believe how much support there was around me. How people, because of longevity of service too, now people get to know you.
Yeah.
So if you ever want to know why longevity of service is important, it's not just about your pension and
Yes.
and a number of days of leave. You build up a reputation. You build up a consistency of people knowing the type of person you are.
Yeah.
And that was a big support to me during a time when people were able to vouch for. Actually, you can see that the individual is going through something very difficult. And for the investment that they've given us all these years, we are giving them the space to, get well again so they can come back stronger.
Strong.
And I now try to do that. It's a pay it forward moment.
Yeah.
And I look at anybody in my team or anyone that I have influence over who might not be well, to give them that encouragement to invest the time to not rush back to work, but to get better. It might be half a day, it might be a day extra, but you'd rather give a person that to create space for their wellness, whether it's physical, mental, spiritual, whatever it might be, versus them getting back into a space where once again
They're gonna crash again and go back again.
Yeah.
Okay.
And for me, you win so much more in a moment in time like that. It's the classic life lesson of, it's not about always winning. It's about when something goes wrong, how do you respond to that challenge? You respect the person more that has gone through a challenge but has shown how they can turn it around and come back, versus someone who's always just a winner, because you never know in a
when
case
they
what happens to them. So the true test is when the pot of water is boiling and the pressure is building, or the popcorn kernels are there, right? Because the pot is under pressure, but we like the popcorn, right? So the seeds have to pop.
Yeah.
And that's when I think, when a company is under pressure, when a person's under pressure, that's when you truly see what they're made of. Not when everything is hunky dory and happy, because you don't know the true measure in that moment.
Talking about comebacks, after you went through that, like, was it different because you had the doubts, the questions that you were asking yourself, and then you had to now go back to work? Was there a big difference in terms of how you're doing things now versus how you did things before, how you're doing things now, how you're seeing things now? And that doubt, was it still there? If yes, how did you deal with it? Becoming, because you're a shopper marketing manager, but now you're a director. Like, how did you go through that, and how did you what's the English word? My data is running low. My English data is running low. The word I'm looking for is, how did you become victorious or triumph over those inner words that we're saying? Am I enough? Am I worth it? Is there still a space for me? There was a space for you because you came back and you are now a director.
Yeah. I think, so once again, I don't care about the title. You can call me whatever you want.
Yeah.
Head of category. But for me, for the folks out there, my job is I sell ice cream.
Ice cream salesman.
That's all I am. And I say that because when I first joined, my first director used to tell me that he sells soup.
Okay.
That's my inspiration.
Okay.
And why I feel it's important is I sell ice cream because everyone else that works for me can also say the same thing. So I like to find a space of unity for all of us. But to answer your question, there are still moments for me when I have my self-doubt, because I specifically took this role because I wanted to grow and be challenged into my next phase of life, whether this is, the company I stay in for till I retire, or, a stepping stone, I don't know. But for me, the comeback story is, and I'm very clear, although the fundamentals of who I am are still there, I might look like ants, sound like ants. The old ant died. I had to die.
Sure.
Right? Because all those things that got me to that point were not good for me. Maybe some things were good. And the reality is, how I was doing things, what I was dedicating my time to, were not serving me well.
Okay.
So I'm very clear on my work boundaries. When I give my all, I give my all to it. But I also know when I give my all to my family comes first. And I'm not apologetic about it.
Yeah.
If I have to choose something that's important to my wife and children in that moment in time over a meeting, I believe if you don't communicate it, if they don't know, they won't know.
Yeah.
So I vocalize it, but I'm very clear on what works for me must work for others too. So I like to be an advocate for that change. Do I feel victorious? I don't feel victorious. I feel that if I can be an example to others of what it means to, I don't use the word balanced life, but to live a life that's fulfilling to me, and they can take a lesson out of it, then my heart attack was worth it. I don't regret it. I'm very clear. I don't sit here, look back and say, woe is me, why did I have a heart attack? I'm so sad. I don't have all of that in my life. I'm sorry, but I don't have a place for it. I believe everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And if someone can benefit from my experience, then I want to be able to share it. I don't go out actively wanting to talk about it. Someone wants to listen, I'll give them the time. And I hope that's what people take out of me every day at work, in my community, whether I'm at my kids' sporting event, or just any circle of life that I'm in.
Oh, that's powerful. Lastly, this is the last question I'm asking, then we are good to go. What advice can you give to someone who is already in an entry-level role? They've just entered, whether it's in FMCG or in a corporate space. What advice would you give them to say that this one advice can unlock so many things in your career?
Okay. If you are new to your company or you started in a workspace, build relationships. Build relationships as quickly as you can, authentic relationships. Because the sooner you have the right people around you that understand you and you understand them, the sooner you have a support structure to guidance and kind of be there for you. That's the first thing.
Sure.
The second thing is build an understanding of the overall organization that you're in. Don't get just stuck in your department at your laptop typing up your dates Monday to Friday work. Have a general understanding of the organization that you're in. It's critically important that you understand how it functions and works.
Mm.
That's I would say the specific two things that I've zoned in on, that I've learned from my own experiences of what I haven't done at
Yeah.
times. And on the softer side, I would say another two things is be humble enough to understand and know that no matter how you might think you know everything, you don't. And the environment that you're in, you need to be prepared to do three things. You need
Okay.
to unlearn,
Mm.
relearn, and learn. Those three things. Because you might have known a way of doing something before,
Yeah.
but it doesn't work in that environment. Or you might need to relearn something, or you might not have known it at all. So you need to start the learning journey. Learning does not end at any stage in your life. So be humble to know that. And also be vulnerable to put up your hand and say you don't know.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than someone sitting there nodding when someone's making a point, but you genuinely don't know what to do next. So rather you put up your hand in the early stages in your career and ask those difficult questions, because if you don't ask, you don't get. Nobody can help you.